So there's a lot of conflicting information out there with regards to bodybuilding and gaining muscle, right? You have some people on one side saying that you should go high volume, right? You should train as much as possible, as frequently as possible, as intense as possible. And, those people swear by their program, saying that, this is the way that you're going to gain muscle by training 5-6 times a week and having very little rest days, right? And then on the other hand, there's people saying that you don't need to train as often, right? That you only need a couple of days, a week in the gym to build muscle, right? That a lot of that 4 or 5 times, 6 times a week is overtraining, and that you don't need to go that far in order to get the results that you want, right? So there's, again, a lot of conflicting information with regards to this subject. One side bashing the other in particular that I've noticed, and that's the side of, high volume, high frequency, bashing the people that say that you don't need to train as often, right? So first of all, I think that this is being done on purpose. There's this guy on YouTube. His name is Yuri Bezmenov, I believe his name is. And he talked about how in the future there was going to be so much information out there, and the truth was not going to be found in anything that was available to the public, that it was going to be really, really hard to get to the bottom of things and actually find truth in the world, right? With regards to information, that there was just going to be so much information out there that people would just be in a state of constant confusion and not knowing what to do, right? Of just being unsure and not really, again, getting to the bottom of things, right? So you can see this happening in the fitness industry and other areas of life as well. But I'm just going to say what worked for me in this video, right? First of all, you got to realize, especially if you're new to bodybuilding or trying to gain muscle, that there's a lot of dishonest people out there, right? Just because somebody posts content online and, they seem like they have it together, they seem like they have the physique, that you aspire to, it doesn't mean that they're an honest person, right? It doesn't mean that they have your best interest in mind and that, they're going to be telling you the truth. A lot of the time, these people are saying that they're natural, right? A beginner might look at, these fitness influencers or somebody that, is in that realm and say, oh, this guy or a girl achieved the body that I want, right? So I should just follow them and I should just follow their advice. But you got to be really careful, right? Because, again, there's a lot of dishonest people out there and there's a lot of liars, right? And a lot of these people are just taking advantage of people's ignorance and basically newbies, right? The people that don't know what to do, that know very little about fitness, right? So a lot of these people are actually on steroids. They're on all sorts of, enhancers that enable them to recuperate much faster than your average person, right? If you're taking steroids, if you're taking enhancers, the ability to gain muscle is going to skyrocket, right? As opposed to if you were natural. In a short period of time, you can see incredible results because so many things are going on the hormonal level when you take steroids that your body just, it's in the state that just makes it easier for itself to repair itself from a workout, first of all, and then to build muscle, right? So you got to be careful who you listen to. Okay, so what personally worked for me? I used to be the type of person that, would work out 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes even 6 times a week, thinking that more is better, right? But when it comes to fitness and bodybuilding, right? When it comes in particular to building muscle, if you're natural, more is not better, right? At least in my experience. Everybody has different levels of recovery time and, different levels of training capacity when it comes to how much intense exercise they can handle, right? A lot of people could work out intensely one day and then just rest one day, and then the next day they're ready to get at it again, right? But not everybody's the same, right? Some people take a little more time to recover and to heal. But I think regardless of your training capacity in that regard, how fast you recover, the same principle still applies, right? Your body needs rest in order to grow. When you go to the gym and you lift weights, that's the stimulus, right? If you challenge yourself, that's the stimulus that your body needs, that your muscles need to say, okay, there's a stress upon, the body, and we need to adapt to it. And so what the body does is, it grows larger, right? The muscles grow larger in order to adapt to the stress that's being placed upon it. So when you go lift weights, that's only the stimulus. When you're resting, when you're sleeping, that's actually when the muscles grow, right? When you're actually in recovery. So think about it. If you're constantly training, if you train 4 or 5 times a week, 6 times a week intensely, you're not giving your body enough time to recover, right? Even though you may be working out, specific, different areas. So you might do an upper or lower split. So you might not be directly hitting, each muscle group day by day. But even so, there's a stress that comes with working out, right? Regardless of what split routine or what routine you do in general. You can do upper body one day and then do legs the next day, but your body's still going to feel it, right? Regardless of what body part you choose to exercise. There's a systemic stress that's placed upon your body that it needs to recover from, right? So again, if you don't give it enough adequate time to rest, your progress is going to be very small, very minimal, right? So what worked for me in particular, again, everybody's different. Get out there and try it yourself and listen to your body, right? That's the best piece of advice I can give you. This is what personally worked for me, right? Reducing my workouts from, again, 5 times a week to 3 times a week. So I would work out very intensely on one day, right? For example, on Monday, I would do an upper body split, right? I would rest the following 2 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is for me the ideal training frequency, right? I rest 48 hours and then I feel ready to go the next day. And then, when I get back into the gym on Thursday, for example, I would hit legs, right? So I do an upper body, lower body split, and I work out every 48 hours. And I work out really intensely, right? So that's the core essence of, building muscle. You got to really push yourself and, again, have that stimulus be loud enough so that your muscles adapt to the stress that you're placing upon them, right? So this personally for me has been, the ideal training frequency. On my days off, I know a lot of people are just addicted to working out, and I was one of them. On my days off, what I do is I just do some light cardio, right? I just go walking, around the block, or, I go and do some very lightweight hiking, right? Very low intensity hiking. I just get some cardio in, right? On the days that I don't work out. And I feel I have the energy to really work out. Because sometimes, man, the workouts are so intense. And, if anybody's, done this sort of routine or this, follow this sort of method, they can agree with what I'm saying. That sometimes the workouts are so intense that you really don't want to work out the following day or two, right? And this has been actually the key to the progress that I've been making recently, right? And just cutting back the amount of days that I work out, putting more recovery days into my schedule, and just focusing on going all out on the days that I do work out, right? And I've also found that you just go back to the gym with this newfound motivation, this newfound energy, because you know that for the next, for the following 2 days, you're not going to have a chance to be in the gym. So you got to give it everything you got while you're at the gym, right? And again, combine this with the training frequency that I've, I started implementing into my life. This has just made my progress really skyrocket, right? Not to exaggerate or anything, but I've noticed the difference, right? With just my overall physique, right? And the amount of weights that I'm lifting, right? Every week, it seems like I'm increasing the amount of weight, the amount of weight that I'm, putting on the bar. So if you are struggling with gaining muscle, if you tried everything out there, give this a shot, right? Implement more rest days into your schedule. Listen to your body and get out there and see what works for you. Because like I said, everybody recovers differently, right? Everybody has different levels of, training capacity, right? When it comes to recovery and how well they can handle intense exercise. So just get out there and see what works for you. Be careful who you listen to, because like I said earlier, there's a lot of dishonest people out there, right? So And finally, just to close off the video, I would recommend you look into a guy called Mike Mentzer. So Mike Mentzer was a bodybuilder. He's no longer with us. He, was a golden era bodybuilder. And he talks about, some of the things that I mentioned in this video, how, the training frequency should be low, but the intensity of your workouts should be high. He talks about, adequate nutrition and just his overall philosophy for training, right, that I've personally implemented into my life, right? A lot of the teachings that, Mike Mentzer said or, taught, I've personally implemented into my workout routine with a few tweaks here and there, right? So again, it just all goes back to finding what's right for you, right? Not being too rigid when it comes to just following a certain routine or anything like that. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for listening. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I make videos on self-improvement. I give life advice based on personal experience. And I occasionally ramble about topics that fascinate me, whether it be an anime, a movie, a television show, anything that piques my interest in general. I'm sure that if you stick around, on the channel, that you'll find something of value to take with you. Thank you to all the subscribers of this channel. Thank you to all the viewers of this channel in general. And I'll see you guys in the next one.